This is a PRS Holdings training video.
Welcome to Heat Illness Training. Employees of PRS Holdings who work outdoors, perform occasional job tasks outdoors, or work inside indoor facilities with outdoor air exposure are at risk for developing heat illness if they do not protect themselves appropriately. This following training will provide information to employees to increase awareness of environmental and personal factors that contribute to heat illness symptoms, what to do when symptoms develop, and ways to prevent heat illness while at work. Employees are to be trained on heat illness on the first day of employment and at the start of every warm weather season. This training will include environmental and personal risk factors for heat illness, PRS Holdings company plan for heat illness prevention, the importance of frequent consumption of small quantities of cool water at a minimum of 4 8-ounce glasses per hour when the work environment is hot, 80 degrees and above, the importance of acclimatization, the different types of heat illness, its symptoms, and treatment, the importance of early reporting of signs or symptoms of heat illness, emergency action plan for medical services. Supervisors will be trained on heat illness prior to supervising employees in the heat. Let's talk about risk factors. Heat illness is a serious medical condition that results when the body is unable to cool itself by sweating. Environmental and personal risk factors can contribute to heat-induced illnesses. Let's talk about environmental risk factors. Air temperature, humidity, radiant heat, sun, equipment, or other sources, conductive heat, air movement, workload severity and duration, protective clothing and/or equipment. Let's go through our list of personal risk factors. Age, frequency of working in hot weather, prescription medications that retain fluids and other responses to heat, alcohol and caffeine intake, drinking water consumption, previous episode or episodes of heat illness, degree of acclimatization. Let's dive a little deeper into acclimatization. It is possible for a person's body to temporarily adapt to work in the heat when gradually exposed to it. Acclimatization peaks in most people within 4 to 14 days of regular work for at least 2 hours per day in the heat. However, extra precautionary measures should be taken during a heat wave. Employees must remember that the body does not have enough time to fully adjust to a sudden change in extreme conditions. Let's talk about symptoms and treatments of heat-related illnesses. A few symptoms you'll want to look out for: heat exhaustion, weakness or fatigue, dizziness or lightheadedness, headache, nausea or vomiting, heat stroke, which could be fatal, dry, hot skin with no sweating, confusion, loss of consciousness, and even seizures. Now, how would we treat heat exhaustion? We recommend moving to a cool, shaded place for at least a 5-minute period. Lay down and raise legs 6 to 8 inches. Take small, frequent sips of fresh, pure, and suitably cool water. If symptoms persist, call 911. Now, how would we recommend treatment of a heat stroke? If you experience a heat stroke, please call 911 immediately. Move to a cool, shaded place. Loosen or remove clothing. Lay on your side. Pour or spray water over the entire body. Place ice packs from the first aid kit under armpits, back of neck, and groin area. Now, how would we prevent heat-related illness? For starters, recognize the hazard. There are no temperature cutoffs below which work in heat ceases to be at risk. Stay alert to weather reports for temperature and heat index forecasts for specific locations where work activities are occurring. Consider the environmental and personal risk factors each day. Work performed in the previous several days will be a factor. Number 2, drink plenty of water. Employees working outdoors in the heat need to drink 4 8-ounce glasses of cool water per hour. In an 8-hour day, this is 2 or more gallons per person. Superintendents and foremen must adequately prepare water quantities per employee per job shift. Water provided on job sites shall be in company-provided ice chests, igloo coolers, or plastic bottles purchased with their assigned company credit card. Water sources shall be placed on machines, in coolers and pickup truck beds, and in designated shaded areas. Employees should have their own water bottle, cup, or glass to drink from.
Employees should stay away from high sugar content drinks, such as sodas, energy drinks, and coffees. These act as a diuretic.
Number 3, identify shade areas. Shade is defined as a blockage of direct sunlight. Canopies, umbrellas, a car running with air conditioning on, a building with air conditioning are examples of shade. The body must be able to cool in the shaded environment. If pop-up tents are used, the superintendent or foreman must purchase this with their company credit card. The pop-up will be transported to the job by the superintendent or foreman and installed in an appropriate location or locations for employees to reach safely and timely. Take frequent breaks when necessary. Superintendents and foremen should consider a reduction in the pace of work or the workload, rotating employees often, and scheduling heavy work during the cooler parts of the day. Employees taking a preventative cool-down rest must be monitored for symptoms of heat illness, encouraged to remain in the shade, and not ordered back to work until symptoms are gone. Employees with symptoms must be provided appropriate first aid or emergency response. High heat procedures, 95 degrees or above. We shall ensure effective observation and monitoring, including a mandatory buddy system and regular communication with employees working by themselves. During high heat, employees must be provided with a minimum 10-minute cool-down period every 2 hours. Number 6, call for or seek emergency medical services immediately when symptoms are persisting. Do not try to wait out the symptoms. As our last section, let's go over the emergency action plan. Superintendents, foremen, and operators must be ready for heat-related illness emergency. Follow these steps. Identify where the emergency medical facilities are located near the job site. Do not hesitate to call 911. If the job site does not have an address, be prepared to provide a detailed explanation of how to get to the job site. If the job location is in a remote area, be prepared to transport the person involved to the nearest medical emergency facility or fire station. Always get immediate help if a person has mental confusion, loss of consciousness, flushed face, hot, dry skin, or is not sweating.
This has been another PRS Holdings training video. Thank you for taking another step to zero.